Card, please.
Baron Pierre de Coubertin, founder of the modern Olympic movement, said sport was not about the winning, but the taking part. Legendary American football coach Vince Lombardi retorted, "If it doesn't matter who wins or loses, then why do they keep score?" The fact is, for all the heroic stories sport throws up about gallant losers, the preferred currency of all of us, fans, the media and the athletes themselves, is success and the measuring of said success. Long before tennis's open era began in 1968, rankings of the world's best players had been published annually by journalists. One of the initial acts of both the ATP and WTA, when formed as player unions in the 1970s, was establishing a computerized ranking system that provided a fair analysis of a player's performance and an objective means to determine entries into tournaments. Ranking points thus became the metric of choice and awarded for winning matches, with some carrying more weight than others. We delved deeper into how it all works in an earlier video, but essentially, the higher the tier and the further you progress, the more points are up for grabs. On both tours, an individual's world ranking is based over a rolling 52-week period, with a points tally made up of a player's best 18 results on the ATP Tour and 16 results on the WTA Tour. Points from the corresponding week of the previous year drop off as new results are earned. This best-of method was first introduced by the ATP in August 1973, with the WTA following suit in November 1975, and has continued to this day as the official ranking system in professional tennis. But there is another way of judging player performance, and it comes in the form of the ATP and WTA Race rankings. These represent an easy-to-understand, simple-to-follow annual race from season start, when everyone is on zero, to the season's end. It's tennis's equivalent of a seasonal league table. At the end of it all, the top 8 players qualify for the end-of-season ATP and WTA Tour finals. Because it looks solely at performances in a calendar year, the race rankings offer a different perspective on the form of players. More often than not, a player's standing in the race is different to their world ranking. For example, as of October 18, 2021, Roger Federer is 11th in the world rankings due to his performances over the previous 52 weeks, but 71st in the race standings, having played only 5 events in 2021. By contrast, Iga Swiatek, one of only 4 players to win multiple titles this year at WTA 500 level or above, is as a result 5th in the WTA race. But she's down in 11th in the world rankings, which also take into account her performances in the latter part of 2020. But while the world rankings will always take precedence, they determine tournament entry and seedings and imply the relative strength of players on tour, there are 2 important reasons to take note of the race standings. Firstly, by this point in the season, the race starts to become an accurate predictor of a player's year-end world ranking, because by the time the end-of-season ATP and WTA Tour finals roll around, both the world rankings and race standings represent the points total over the last 52 weeks of action. Secondly, as mentioned earlier, the top 8 players make it into those glamorous tour finals. Well, almost. For the ATP Tour finals, it's the top 7 who are guaranteed entry. They reserve a spot for a reigning Grand Slam champion who falls outside of the top 8, as long as they are at least inside the top 20. If all 4 Grand Slam winners are in the top 7 anyway, then the 8th ranked player gets in. Alternates are put on standby in case of injury, in ranking order. This Grand Slam exception does not apply for the WTA Tour finals, which only admits the top 8. This means US Open champion Emma Raducanu would not be given a wildcard entry to the finals, unlike a male player in similar circumstances. This explainer has been exclusively discussing singles players for clarity, but the same race standings and end-of-year finals apply to the top 8 doubles pairings on both tours. The ATP and WTA also have second-tier end-of-season events. The best male youngsters aged 21 or under, who do not feature in the main tour finals, are entered into the next-gen finals, while the best of the rest from the women's game compete in the WTA Elite Trophy.